On today's episode of Lil Dumps, we're going to take a deep dive into a dumpling that has been in my family for more than 6 generations. In 1896, a 28-year-old man named Chong Sai moved from China to Hawaii to work on a plantation. He worked on plantations, rice farms, and also other farms that raised ducks and chickens. He later married a young lady named Li Shi, where they had 7 children. One of those children was Yi Sang Chong, who just so happened to be my grandma's father. He later got married and had 4 children, Mary, Alice, Robert, and Elsie Chong in Honolulu, Hawaii. My grandma, Elsie Chong, was born in April 1930. During her childhood, her mother taught her how to make a special type of dumpling called Gawken. Gawken is actually part of the crystal skin dumpling family. It is made with wheat starch and tapioca flour. The filling consists of anything you could find around the house. It is unknown where the name Gawken comes from. We don't think it's a traditional Chinese name, but a name passed down from generation to generation. Gawken may not be the most fanciest dumpling out there, or maybe the most flavorfulest to some, but I think part of the flavor comes from the nostalgia, or maybe the memories, established when making these things. People come and go, and I think the one thing that survives is good food. Good food finds a way to survive, and it somehow nestles its way from generation to generation. I will be sharing with you my experience making Gawken, and I have to say, it was pretty difficult. And unfortunately, I messed up quite a few times. Let's start off with the filling. A lot of my measurements are created by the "oh, that looks about right" method. The filling consists of pork, leftover shrimp filling, carrots, green onion, bamboo shoots, shiitake mushrooms, cabbage, cornstarch, and 1 egg. Unfortunately, if you're like me, stirring this much filling is extremely hard. I always start off with a way too small bowl, and I make a huge mess. Well, onto a bigger bowl. I mix the filling like any other dumpling filling, in one direction, until fibrous and sticky, which took about 10 minutes. My grandma does not have a dough recipe, because like all grandmas, she measures by her eyes. Here's a recipe we've been using for quite some time, and it's very similar to my grandma's. I have about 250 grams of wheat starch and 50 grams of tapioca starch in a bowl. I then added about 150 grams of boiling hot water and mixed for a bit. I set it aside for 10 minutes, which was a huge mistake, and please don't do this. 10 minutes have passed, and I kneaded the dough, and it was pretty terrible. Crumbly like sand, just a god-awful batch that ended up in the trash. And so I started off with a new batch of dough. Well, second time's a charm, am I right? I added wheat starch and tapioca flour to a bowl. I mixed in boiling hot water and mixed with some chopsticks. I learned from my first mistake and kneaded right away. This time, the dough felt great. However, I added too much water and spent the next 10 minutes adding in more wheat starch to balance the stickiness. And yeah, it stuck everywhere. After some time, the dough came back around and I portioned out the dough into 4 equal logs. I applied oil to each log and covered with a towel. A long time ago, my grandpa told my grandma that she should use a tortilla press instead of rolling out the wrappers by hand. Because of the wise words of my grandpa George, our family has been using a tortilla press ever since then. I tried using a knife to make the wrappers like the dim sum chef way, and man, it is near impossible. So I just continued doing what we've been doing for the past many years. Using a tortilla press. My grandma folds these dumplings a certain way. My mother has followed ever since she's been a little girl, but I wanted to do a different way, like the Chinese pot sticker way. I went the original route, fold like a taco and do 2 to 3 pleats on each side. Even though this wrapper was extremely hard to make, we made quite the bounty, and I think it was well worth our time. We kept the dumplings in the fridge until dinner time. I added our Gawken to the bamboo steamer and steamed away. These dumplings take about 12 minutes in a steamer. I was amazed by the results. It tasted really good. And it was nice going back to my grandma's dumplings. This dumpling represents our family well. The traditions, the memories, the stories, and the many generations. All these shared events linked to just one type of dumpling. I think as kids, we would run to our grandma and always ask her, "What did you make us?" And our grandma would laugh and say, "Oh, I made a little something something." And we always got excited when she would tell us it was Gawken. And I truly believe that parts of the flavor does come from the nostalgia or the memories when you take each bite. And unfortunately, I do think these traditions are being lost as time progresses. What is a tradition in your family that you would like to continue? Feel free to share in the comment section below because I would love to read about it. If you have enjoyed today's episode, feel free to like, comment, and even subscribe. You can find more videos around here. And I thank you so much for watching. This has been Jonathan at Let's Try Kitchen. And as always, if you have messed up in the kitchen, you can always begin again.